Okay, let's take a look at this. So in my sequence here, I have the video of you on the background here, and then above that we have the candle itself. So a couple simple things here. I'm just going to straighten these out here. With the candle, I'm going to go up to Effects Control, and I'm going to go to Opacity, and I'm going to change this to one of the darken modes. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit darker, and you can see with that it shows through there, right? Multiply, so on and so forth. I'm just going to go with darker. You'll notice it the black isn't full black. So in order to kind of get that to a kind of a pure black, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Window, go to Workspaces, and go to Color. The interface is going to change, and over here basically what is called Lumetri Color, and we're just going to need to basically be right in here under Light. So the first thing is we can see blacks. If I could actually make the blacks kind of more gray or darker. So I'm just going to darken that up and just kind of pulling that all the way over. And now when we play this, you'll see that you kind of shine through there and you're not showing up in the black at all. Now you're off a little bit, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select your layer here. I'm going to hide this temporarily and I'm going to lock it. I'm just going to double click on this, and then I could shuffle it over roughly, and then I'll just turn this back on. So now when we play this, you walk in here. Obviously you could trim what's below, and then we have you just inside of the flame there. Move that lower one around however you want to. You can see with this blend mode, sorry, if I click on this, the blend mode here to darken, you still have these colors. If you don't like those colors, again, over here in Lumetri Color, I could just lower the saturation all the way. So now we just have kind of that gray outline of the shape bobbing around. Or, of course, jack it up the other way, whatever you want to do. On Lumetri Color, if you ever kind of mess with things too much, you could always just double click on these buttons and they go back to 0. So that was kind of the before, right? We just pulled the blacks all the way down, and now you basically have a matte for that. Okay, round 2. So we have this, that's looking pretty good. Let me play that. What we're going to do next is I'm going to nest this. What nesting does basically is I'm just going to select these, right click on it, and I'm going to find nest. What that does, it makes its own sequence. What's nice about that, once you have that sequence, I'll just call it by default, that's good. It collapses all those layers into one, so you could then just apply one effect, one effects control, whatever it might be, to this clip without having any issues. So now what I'm going to do is, you can see over here's my sequence. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a new sequence, and I'm going to use the 1080, 30 frames a second, and then I'm going to drag and drop this still image underneath here. Okay, really quick, I'm just going to scale this down, set to frame size, hold on, and so that's my background now. So I know that you had some other video backgrounds, but you can imagine this, and now I'm going to take that nested sequence and put it right on top, right? So there's the background, here's the nested sequence. So here now with this one layer, which is the nested sequence, what I could do is, and you can see I'm under the effects area right here, I could actually come into my keying, and there's two options. One is you already were playing with, is the Luma key. So I'm just going to drag the Luma key on top of this, and now here in my sequence over here under Luma key, I have options. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm just going to start lowering the threshold, and then, oh, look at that. So there we go. So now we actually have that video here. So the blacks are not showing up. I need to lower that threshold a little bit more, and you'll see there's a little fine line, so you kind of go past a certain area and it kind of pops out. But I could lower this almost all the way there, and we have that edge right there. You can see it's a little bit of kind of pixelated, a little grainy on this, so that is one option. Again, you can go back into the nested sequence. You could change the saturation. You could desaturate that within this actual nested sequence, but I'm going with this right now. I'm going to temporarily turn that off, Luma key, and the other option is to actually just do an Ultra key. So if I drag the Ultra key onto this, boop, it automatically does this. So if you remember from class, the green screen, you basically set the key color. Well, since that video already had black as the background color, a pure black, it automatically keys that out. So a similar thing. You can see it has a slightly different look to it. We don't need to deal with any matte generation, but if we come on to matte cleanup, I could actually soften that edge. So you see how it has that hard edge. If I just soften that up, that was one thing that we thought might be interesting for that. instead of giving it that kind of gritty edge that you see by default here. So those are the two options. You could either use Luma key or Ultra key to basically key that out here. Additionally, of course, you could, with this sequence under opacity, you could change the blending modes as well, right? So if you wanted to have a little bit of blend coming through here, those are all options, right? Again, probably darken's going to be the one that you want to work with there.